So let me take this privilege while I introduce the chair, Dr. Elio Rossi. Since 1991, he has been a member of the Faculty of Homeopathy of London. He has been the former member of CAM National Commission of Italian Ministry of Health 1996 to 2001. He is the director of the Homeopathic Clinic Regional Center for Reference and of the Complementary Medicine and Oncology Clinic of the Hospital of Lucca. He is also the co-president of the 5th ECIM 2012 Congress in Florence. So, Doctor, we are happy to have you here with us and for being the chair for this session. And without any further ado, may I request the first speaker of this session, Dr. Sitara, and I request Doctor to kindly share her screen and to be on time. Thank you.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am, we can see your screen. We can hear you loud and clear. You may start with the presentation.
Okay. A very good evening to all. First of all, I thank LMHI for giving me an opportunity to present in the session. So my topic for today is an in vitro evidence of homeopathic preparation of Lycopodium clavatum as an inhibitor of monosodium urate crystallization in gout. So it is an in vitro study we conducted by our Lycopodium clavatum medicine as an inhibitor of monosodium urate crystallization. So first of all, we'll see what is hyperuricemia. Hyperuricemia is a condition that the plasma urate concentration is more than 7 mg per dl. So it can result from increased production or decreased excretion of uric acid. This increased production is mainly due to the altered urine metabolism. So uric acid is a weak acid, so it easily gets ionized to form urates. And then when the concentration of uric acid in plasma increases, it gets supersaturated, forming monosodium urate crystals. So deposition of these crystals results in complications like gouty arthritis, nephrolithiasis, uric acid nephropathy, etc. And hyperuricemia has also been reported as an independent risk factor for metabolic syndrome, obesity, diabetes, stroke, atherosclerotic disease. So this is the burden of the disease. And worldwide, if you see, prevalence of hyperuricemia has increased dramatically in recent decades. From 2006 to 2014, the prevalence has increased from 19.7 to 25% among men and 20 to 24% among women. This progressive increase in serum level of uric acid is mainly due to the rising prevalence of overweight and obesity, and also mainly due to our food style changes like increase in consumption of sugar-sweetened beverages and food-rich in. So asymptomatic hyperuricemia is also a valuable biomarker for predicting the development of cardiometabolic and renal diseases. So rationally for the studies, pharmacological treatment of asymptomatic hyperuricemia carries some risk and is not considered beneficial or cost-effective. And for this asymptomatic stage, generally it is not recommended. And there are also many adverse effects. But homeopathic treatment for uric acid, on the other hand, has no side effects and is very safe to use. These medicines also lower the level of uric acid and also reduce the tendency to hold excess of uric acid. Homeopathic there are many medicines to reduce the uric acid level, but homeopathic remedy Lycopodium is a well-known remedy used by many homeopaths worldwide. It is given as a 3-mark remedy in Frederick Schoen's synthesis repertory under the rubric uric acid diathesis. So this rubric contains medicines from brewings of both classical and contemporary brewers. So that is why we selected this medicine. In spite of growing popularity of homeopathy, validation of well-designed experiments is greatly warranted to convince both skeptics and believers. So this is a study with the intention to prove the scientificity of homeopathic medicine on monosodium urate crystals through an in vitro study. So this is the objective, to evaluate the in vitro effectiveness of homeopathic medicine like Lycopodium clavatum in inhibiting the monosodium urate crystal formation. So outcome measure is to reduce the rate of crystal formation by considering the slope of nucleation and aggregation value of medicine. So we'll see what are the materials and methods we have used. First is the drugs and chemicals. Homeopathic preparation of lycopodium we have used in 7 potencies, that is tincture 6C, 12C, 30C, 200C, 1M and 10M. It was procured from SPL India Private Limited, New Delhi. And all other chemicals and reagents we used was there of analytical grade. And the 2 control were taken. One is ethanol, and second control is of positive control, that is an allopathic medicine, febuxostat. So these are the controls we have taken. Quality control experiments were carried out independently in the laboratory under the supervision of a biochemist. For the reasons of cross-contamination, we did not use more than 1 vial per substance. So first is first thing we have done is like spectrophotometric and crystallization study. So what we have done is we have prepared a uric acid standard solution by mixing 100 milligram of uric acid with 900 ml of distilled water. And then we have added 0.6 NaOH to help to dissolve uric acid. We have dissolved that uric acid. Then the pH is adjusted to 7.4 and is filtered through a 4 millipore membrane. Then we have kept this placed 5 ml of sample of uric acid solution into a 10 mm path length cuvette holder. That is, we have kept in a spectrophotometer, and standard values are measured using spectrophotometer. And also after that, every 5 minutes after agitation with the cyclovortex mixer. That we have first kept the uric acid standard solution. Then now we have measured every 5 minutes after agitation with the cyclovortex mixer. Optical density is measured. So this is the spectrophotometer. We have kept, done like this. Next, step 3, what we have done is, first we have done like standard solution. Then we have added our medicine, homeopathic medicines in all potencies. Then we have measured the optical density. And after every 5 minutes after agitation with cyclovortex mixer. Because we are doing this agitation so that the crystals get formed in the solution. Next is like optical density usually increases during this nucleation phase. That is when first crystals start to form, that time the optical density started to increase and then decreases during the aggregation phase. Aggregation means when already the crystals are formed, the optical density started to decrease. So we will plot a graph based on this, and the slope of nucleation and aggregation phases will be calculated using a linear regression analysis. And percentage inhibition exerted by the proteins will be calculated using percentage inhibition formula. We'll plot for each graph and then we'll measure the percentage inhibition. So first we have done a spectrophotometric study. Then after that we have done a light microscopic study. This also was carried out in both standard and solution, where we have got maximum result in spectrophotometry. And both results that come back. So results, if you see here, first is the standard graph from the values of OD obtained from spectrophotometer. First is the standard graph without any additives. So this is a standard graph without any additives. This increase in slope of OD indicates crystal formation and increase in particle number, and that is a nucleation. And after nucleation, when the solution gets saturated, equilibrium is reached, then there is a decrease in the optical density, which indicates the decrease in particle number. That is aggregation. So this is the first is the slope of nucleation, then comes the slope of aggregation, and this is used as the standard for all comparison. Next is the shows the effect of homeopathic medicine lycopodium clavatum 6C and 12C. So this is the effect of 6C and 12C. We can see comparatively some less aggregation. Next is homeopathic medicine 200 and 1M on nucleation and aggregation of crystals. So here it has prevented aggregation. We cannot see the aggregation, and that is downward slope much. So we'll calculate later. Next is the effect of homeopathic medicine lycopodium 30 and 10M on nucleation aggregation. 30 and 10M. This is the graph plotted. Next is we have taken a mother tincture and also ethanol negative control. So this is the graph we have got. Also, we have taken positive control as febuxostat medicine. So this also, this is the graph we have got. So based on this graph, we have calculated the nucleation, slope of nucleation and aggregation. And based on this, we have plotted this graph. And if you see this graph, you can see 1M and 10M, 1M and 200, it has prevented the aggregation to 100%. Similar to the positive control, like similar to the allopathic or positive control, it has our 1M and 200 potencies have inhibited the aggregation. And in additionally, if you see the 1M potency also prevented the nucleations. You can see 18.4. It also prevented the nucleation. That means it has also prevented the formation of crystals. Not only it has aggregation means dissolution of crystals. So if you see here, the graph shows all potencies of homeopathic medicine lycopodium clavatum prevented the aggregation. And if you see mother tincture, it doesn't show much action. It shows comparatively less aggregation. And maximum inhibition was observed in 201 potency. And they showed aggregation more than 100% similar to a positive control. And lycopodium 1M also shows very less nucleation. This indicates that the homeopathic medicine lycopodium clavatum, especially the 1M potency, prevented the formation of crystals also to a great extent. So to confirm, we have done also light microscopic studies. We have done on 200 1M tincture and standard. So this is the result we have got. First is the mother tincture. Next, A is the mother tincture. B is the 200 potency. You can see comparatively less crystals. C is the 1M potency. There also we can see comparatively less crystals. And D is the mother tincture. It doesn't show much action. So discussion, if you see, when the concentration of uric acid in blood increases, it easily get ionized to form urates and get supersaturated as monosodium urate crystals. This can lead to further disease and complication. So aim of our medicine is to prevent or reduce the formation of monosodium urate crystals and also prevent further aggregation of crystals if it has already formed. So this is the aim of our medicines. So thus in the present study, we found that the homeopathic medicine lycopodium clavatum is effective in inhibiting the formation of monosodium urate crystals and also cause dissolution of crystals. Additionally, our results indicate that the high potencies like 200 1M is more effective than the low potencies. Thus, in the present study, we have found that the homeopathic medicine lycopodium clavatum is effective in inhibiting the formation of monosodium urate crystals and also cause dissolution of crystals. This results of the study clears the doubt of scientific validity, suggesting that lycopodium clavatum is not only effective clinically, but also under in vitro conditions. Limitation of the study, as this is an in vitro study and it is time bound, and we have assessed it only for few days. But the duration of action of medicine lycopodium is usually 40 to 50 days. So I think we can expect more results clinically. So acknowledgement, I would like to express my gratitude to our guide, Dr. Mansoor Ali KR, Professor, Department of Case Taking and Repertorization, Government Homeopathic Medical College, Kozhikode, Kerala, for able guidance and support in completing my research. I would also like to express my thanks to Biochemical Laboratory, Core Valley Herbal Technologies, for providing a biochemist and necessary laboratory facilities. Thank you all.
Thank you, Miss
Yes.
Sitara. Very nice, very interesting paper, and I think that the implication, the consequences for clinical point of view will be very interesting about a very big problem, diary problem, but every day you can see this kind of people with hyperuricemia and lycopodium, if well prescribed, can be a really important solution. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Rossi. Thank you, Dr. Sitara Parveen. And now may I request our next speaker, Dr. Renu Arya from India. Dr. Renu, over to you.
Yes, I'm sharing my screen.
Yes, ma'am.
A very good evening, good afternoon, good morning to everyone, because we all have from the different time zones. So I I'll start my presentation. The topic is standardization, quality control, and immunomodulator activity of medicinal plant drug Justicia adhatoda. So it is a complete package where I'm going to standardize the raw material and identify the quality control of the raw material as well as the finished product, and later on I'll elucidate the immunomodulatory activity of the medicinal plant drug Justicia adhatoda. The drug is also known as Vasaka. So this is my plant, Adhetoda vasaka. It looks like that. Our main motive is like drug is an interface between practitioner or pharma professional and patient. Until unless the drug will not be effective, the work will not done with the doctor, the professionals. So this is the standardization and quality control of medicinal plants. In my country perspective, we took this homeopathy system of medicine as a traditional system of medicines. So I tried to just give a supportive data or the scientific evidence, so we can come up with the data. So this standardization is also comes under the Ministry of Ayush, like which is also working on the Ayurveda, Unani Siddha, and homeopathy medicines. So in my country perspectives, it also works as a alternative and traditional system of medicine. This is the process. Actually, standardization is a process where we give the set of standards or inherent characteristics, constant parameters, definitive, qualitative, and quantitative values that carry an assurance of quality, efficacy, safety, and reproducibility. Until unless it will not safe, if they may create some side effects, so therefore it is very necessary or it is very compulsory to identify their safety, quality, efficacy, and reproducibility. Therefore the standardization is a very essential tool. We are working on the medicines. If the medicine is not standardized, or the medicine is not the exact medicine, because nowadays the plant material are being adulterated with some other species, some other genus, so the effect could not be the same if we go for the clinical aspect. So this is the flow chart of standardization and quality evaluation of a plant drug. These are the parameters and these are the tests which I had performed in terms of botanical, in terms of physical, chemical, biological, or organoleptic tests. There are so many parameters which I am going to show in my next slides. So preamble of my study, we all over the world we are facing this pandemic. So the main effect of that pandemic, everybody who had faced a major effect, that was respiratory system, or that was basically a immunity system. So people over the scientists over the world, they are trying to repurposing the drug. So what we are already having, we were trying to repurpose it for the immunomodulators. So my focus is on the immunomodulator, specifically which is working on the respiratory system. So further my study will focusing on immune system, which is the key feature of human defense system, which is fight against the infectious disease. These are the parameters which I had performed as per the homeopathic pharmacopoeia of India and as per the standards given in the WHO. This is the physicochemical parameters like Lawson drying, ash value, sulfated ash. All these parameters supported the quality control of a medicine. And in my pharmacological approach, this coronavirus is now it is being mutated in alpha, beta, gamma, and the recent strain is like Omicron. So everybody is affecting to the lungs only, and it is a major part of the respiratory system. So therefore, I focused on the Indian medicinal plants, which is being used in the other traditional system of medicines also, like in Ayurveda, in homeopathy, and in Unani and Siddha. So I isolate that single plant which is being used in other system also. Now the rationales of my pharmacological activity, which I had already explained. So the main objective was the development of immunity by the stimulation of the immune system and the suppression of the undesired immune reaction. So somehow this is the common process of natural immunomodulators. Immunomodulators are of two types, like immunostimulant and immunosuppressant. Sometimes we need to suppress this thing, sometimes we need to stimulate this thing. So this is the entire process of innate response system and adaptive immune response. And this my drug will effect on the both of the things. This is the more pharmacological. So now the selection of plants from the Ayur system of medicines. This Vasaka is being also researches in other system of medicines, and it will give the in short. This is the slide to for the my work. The first step was selection and collection of plant based on their traditional use and experimental evidence. Second part was standardization and quality control with respect to pharmacognostic and microanatomic properties of raw material plant. This is a very important aspect. If we will do this step, we will be damn sure that the mother tincture or the medicine which we are taking is the exact or is the genuine sample. So that is why it is a more important part. Then extraction of plant material, how to, there are so many chemical constituents in the plant material. So by extraction we can isolate those plant materials, sorry, phytoconstituents. Then we need to standardization and quality control with respect to physicochemical properties like HPTLC, ash value, extractive values. And in the last, we'll evaluate the in vivo activity from on animal model, that is the immunomodulatory of the extracts mother tincture. Uh, Now this is the basic objective of pharmacological activity. There were three objectives. First was to evaluate the effect of homeopathic plants on humoral immunity in experimental model. Second was to evaluate the effect of homeopathy plants on cellular immunity in experimental animal model. And the third one is to evaluate the effect of homeopathic plants on non-specific immunity in experimental animal model. These all are the part of the pharmacological models itself. So what I had selected that a hydroalcoholic extract, which we can say the mother tincture as well. Then I chosen the dose of 250 mg and 500 mg per kg. The cyclophosphamide or SHIP red blood cells, which was used as to induce the or to suppress the immune system. The animal were healthy bulb C mice. I have taken the mice, and the proper fed standard palliate diet, whichever as per according to the institutional animal ethical committee it has been used. Then this is the my grouping of the animals. Group 1 normal control, then carbon suspension, then test drug 250 mg per kg, and the test drug is another one is 500 mg per kg. These were the parameters which were evaluated, like WBC, RBC, hemoglobin, neutrophil adhesion test, which will be done, and immunoglobin and cytokine serum from ELISA reader, because these are the two key parameters for the immunity system. And TNF alpha, IgG, IgM, IL2, interleukin 1, interleukin 2, 4, 10. These parameters were evaluated. This is another model in which psychotic index were done. This is specifically for the innate immune response model. Now I'll come to the results. This is the standardization of plant. We have taken the plant microscopy to identify the diagnostic characteristics, the powder microscopy, what are the xylem fibers, what are the bundles, what are the stomata, what are the powder microscopy, and this is the result of physicochemical studies. We prepare the mother tincture, and this is this result of standardization of raw drug, where we have done the purity test. We have done the loss of drying, which was not more than 15.9% weight by weight. Then total ash value, which was not more than 5.8 by 8% weight by weight. And I have done the phytochemical test, where I came on to conclusion that flavonoids were present, alkaloids were present, and saponins were present in the mother tincture. And this is the basic parameter, like how it was the physicochemical parameter, physical appearance, like it is a clear liquid, the color and the odor. Then physicochemical properties, like is there any sediment, is there any extra material, foreign material, so that was not there. And the mother tincture was containing 0.887 gram weight per volume, and the total solid was 1.77. Alcohol content was 80.5 volume by volume. And this is the plates of HPTLC, where we quantify the chemical constituents which was present in the mother tincture, that we have derivatized by, and it was derivatized by with the help of the drag and drop reagent. And we have seen in the under UV 254 nm and UV 366 nanometer. So this is the result and possible mechanism of action. Possible mechanism of action, because we need to research more to find out what would be the possible mechanism of action. So in my study, I could able to find out that my 500 mg per kg were more significant with the standard control. So with this, I conclude that the quality control data will be the reference standard for academicians, for researchers, and for industrialists to choose the genuine and quality raw drug and finished products for the further development. And the statistically significant results in terms of immunomodulatory activity will certainly develop a choice of medicine as an alternative medicine in COVID and post-COVID complications, and furthermore to curb any kind of disease which is related to immune system as well. So here I conclude my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Renu. Dr. Rossi, yeah, over to you.
No, yes, no, just to thank this good relation, and I think, I think the flora in India will be so immense, so difficult to study all the plants, but the implication is very important for also the homeopathic world, not only in India, of course. Yes, this is the
Yes,
basis for the clinical experience. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So thank you once again, Dr. Renu. It was a very in-depth yet lucid and very precise presentation. And may I now request our next speaker, Professor Nilanjana Basu from India. Ma'am?
Audible? Hello.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible. May I request you to kindly share the screen, the presentation, please?
Yes, I'm doing it. Is it visible now?
Yes, it is visible. Could you please make it full screen, slideshow?
Yeah.
Thank
Hope
you.
that is done. Okay. Good morning to the other part of the world, and good evening, good afternoon also to the people who are sitting in the afternoon. So here I present my paper. This is a part. This work is a part of my PhD thesis, and I am the first author. And it is done under the able guidance of my supervisor, Professor Simran Tandon, and hello. Yes. Professor Bhudev Das, both are from Amity Institute of Molecular Medicine and Stem Cell Research, Amity University, Noida. And my external co-guide, she is Dr. Mani Luthra Gupta Sarma. She's from PGI, Chandigarh, India. So my topic of presentation is anti-epithelial mesenchymal transition property of Arnica montana attributed to mitochondrial mediated apoptosis. So the background of my study is that the breast cancer may be broadly classified into, hormone dependent and hormone independent. So it depends upon the presence and absence of the hormone receptors on the breast cancer cells. So if I may take out the pointer, please. Yes, so this is an example of the hormone dependent. That means these are the basement membranes. So there are receptors present. They may be progesterone receptors, they may be estrogen receptors, or the HER2 receptors. And these are hormone positive and these are hormone negative. So that means there are no receptors on the cells. So this is just a basic diagram to make it clear. So hormone dependent is hormone receptor positive cancers. That means estrogen receptor, estrogen progesterone receptors, and as well as epidermal human epidermal growth factor receptor 2, that is HER2. But if all these are absent, that ER, PR, and HER2 are absent, these type of cancers are known as triple negative breast cancer. That is the short form of TNBC. So triple negative breast cancer possesses highly invasive and metastatic property, and thus has a poor prognosis. Since there is absence of hormone receptor in the TNBCs, the hormone therapies available are ineffective, and hence treatment modalities are primarily dependent on aggressive treatment, chemotherapy, radiotherapy, and surgery. So basically, so if there are no receptors, the hormone therapies are ineffective. So we have to give chemotherapies which are very aggressive. So these approaches have a high degree of systemic toxicity and also lead to drug resistance. Therefore, novel drug with less or no toxicity are the need of the hour. So in TNBC, there is polarization of the epithelial cells after undergoing various biochemical changes to mesenchymal phenotype, which makes these type of cancer prone to invasions in the local tissues and enhanced metastasis and thus elevated resistance to apoptosis. In this current study, we explored the anti-epithelial mesenchymal transition ability, that is the EMT ability of Arnica montana in TNBC along with its cytotoxicity potential. So the method used in this study, the cell line which we used is the triple negative breast cancer cell line, that is MDA-MB 231. The drugs which we use are Arnica montana, mother tincture, 6C, 30C, and 200C potency. We took doxorubicin and 5-FU as a positive control as and when in different studies. And we took 90% alcohol as the solvent control. That is the solvent control because according to the Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia of India, the solvent control, the alcohol content in all the drugs are 90%. So we wanted to see whether the solvent control has any effect on cytotoxicity or only the Arnica drug. The assays that were done was the cell viability assay was done using flow cytometry. The cell proliferation was seen by doing clonogenic assay. Cell migration was assessed using scratch assay, and gene expression analysis was done using real-time quantitative PCR. So we come to the results. So first we see the assessment of the cell viability. So we wanted to see whether the cancer cells are our drug is toxic. I mean, they have cytotoxic property on the cancer cells or not. So to see this, we had done an flow cytometry assay. Flow cytometry means it detects the type of cells which are apoptotic or late apoptotic, early or dead cells or necrotic cells. So basically, we had cultured these cells and we had dosed with all the drugs, that is the Arnica in different potency and the doxorubicin, and also the control, the solvent control, and incubated these for 96 hours. After this period, the cells were stained with annexin 5 FITC, conjugated with FITC and PI, that is propidium iodide. So the basic principle behind it is that the PI is impermeable. It cannot go inside the intact plasma or nuclear membrane. So if there is necrosis or dead cell or late apoptosis, then the PI can go through it. As well as when it in a living cell, in a normal condition, the phosphatidylserine, that is the PS, are located in the inner surface of the plasma membrane. But during apoptosis, there is some change in the plasma membrane and there is a structural change that translocate the phosphatidylserine to the outer membrane. And now that is detected by the annexin. So this is the principle. So here we see in these quadrant, we can see after the flow cytometric assay, we see the live cell, here the early apoptosis, here the late. So this is how we had done this assay, and this is the quantification and the number of apoptosis, the percentage of apoptosis has been shown here. So here we can see the doxorubicin has the most part of apoptosis, and followed by the Arnica mother tincture, followed by Arnica 6C, but there was negligible apoptosis in say 30C, and in 200C again equal to Arnica. So that means that it had cytotoxic property, that is apoptosis, which provided this cytotoxicity to the MDMB 231, that is the TNBC cell line. Then we come to the clonogenic assay. We wanted to see the assessment of the cell proliferation. So it is done primarily to observe whether the proliferation ability of a single cancer cell to develop into a colony. So if you can see these are visualized after staining. After we only seed a very few amount of cell. Precisely in this case, we had seeded 100 cells in the dish, and then we had treated it for 96 hours, and then we had removed the media and kept it for again 10 days. After 10 days, we had seen this number of colonies in the solvent control. And this is for the doxorubicin, these are for the arnica. So this has been in a graphical format that there is cell inhibition in all the drugs. So basically then we concluded that it can be the arnica can inhibit the proliferation of the cell into formation of colonies. Then we had done an assessment by doing a scratch assay. This scratch assay is basically done by to see whether to analyze and interpret the migration of cancer cells in vitro. So basically in this technique, the cell-free area is created. So if this is a dish, then the cell-free area is created by scratching by a micro tip. And then we wanted to see whether this cell-free area is covered by the cells or not. Basically, so this is how it, just a second. Yes. So this is how the migration cell migrate. This is not my work. This is just to show how it works. So, hello. Oh, sorry. So this is how the cell-free area gets covered. So this is just to show that. The same thing which we had done is this. So the first on the first day we had done a yes. So this is a 0 hour. We had made a cell-free scratch on the confluent cell, and then after 48 hours, we had assessed the how much closure is there on the cell scratch area. So same thing with the 5FU, same thing with that this is the positive control, and same thing with the arnica. So the distance of migration is very less in case of arnica montana mother tincture, if you can see, but compared to this positive and solvent control. Similarly, for the arnica 6 also the distance of migration, so we can see a lot of difference in that. So if you want to quantify, so this is the quantification, this is the graph showing the migration percentage as compared to the solvent control. So again, this showed that there is a possibility that arnica can inhibit the cell migration. So now gene expression analysis. So to validate our finding further, we did this gene expression analysis where we witness activity of gene after the treatment. It is a sensitive indicator of biological activity where the gene expression pattern reflects the change in the biological process. So before explaining these graph, I just want to go to the discussion and just make a small point so that graph it understandable then. So upregulation of pro-apoptotic gene, that is BAX, and downregulation of anti-apoptotic BCL2 are the critical markers of apoptosis mediated via mitochondria. So this increase in BAX and BCL2 ratio is associated with the induction of apoptosis in several types of cancer. So arnica montana displays apoptosis via the intrinsic pathway. It showed upregulation of the initiator caspase 9 and the effector caspase simultaneously, caspase 3. So this is the diagrammatic representation which usually happen, what had happened probably. So there is upregulation of BAX and downregulation of BCL2. This is an anti-apoptotic gene. This is a pro-apoptotic gene. So the ratio between this changes, and then the mitochondrial outer membrane becomes permeabilized, and then the cytochrome C is released, followed by this caspase and apoptosis. So now we come back to the graph. So by here, by seeing this, we can see the apoptosis in Arnica montana. So there is upregulation of the gene of Arnica montana of BAX, downregulation of BCL2, and the ratio has been changed to, it has upregulated as compared to the solvent control. So that means there is apoptosis, then the caspase 9 also upregulated, and the caspase 3 also upregulated. Similarly, it happened with the Arnica 6, Arnica 30, and Arnica 200. Now, again, if we go back to this, so Arnica montana showed significant upregulation of the E-cadherin and epithelial marker, which maintains the cell-cell adhesion and therefore integrating of the epithelial tissue. This means that the TNBC cells retain the epithelial phenotype after treatment. So downregulation of mesenchymal marker like N-cadherin, vimentin signifies inhibition of cell motility, and migration. So this is the representation again. So this is a basement membrane where we can see the epithelial variety here. So the cells are intact. And when this epithelial comes, the EMT happens, the epithelial to mesenchymal transition happen in cases of TNBCs, then the mesenchymal variety, which is more of the fibroblastic type, if you can see, what happened, they transform, the cells get transformed from this cuboid to the fibroblastic, and they usually leak to the surrounding surface as well as the blood vessels, and then they go for distant metastasis. So these are the markers. The epithelial markers are the E-cadherin, and N-cadherin and vimentin are the mesenchymal marker. So similarly, if we go back to the graph, this is shown the epithelial markers, these are upregulated, and the N-cadherin, vimentins are the downregulated genes. So this happens with all the, so these findings validate our previous finding. So the conclusion is Arnica montana in various potencies displayed inhibitory effect on the migration and proliferation, attributing to the anti-EMT under in vitro condition. It also displayed cytotoxicity by inducing apoptosis via permeabilization of the mitochondrial outer membrane. These results laid down and foundation for future studies in animal model to elucidate its potential in TNBC. So these are the references which we had worked on. And so courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes courage is the little voice in the end of the day that says, I'll again try tomorrow. So working with without any funding and on what you say, fundamental research, and that too in homeopathy, is very difficult. So every night I say this, that this will end and I can go further. And I take this opportunity for a second to thank my Amity University, who has given me this opportunity to work there as a PhD scholar. Thank you so much. Thank you for bearing with me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And just as this small comment, is very important because I am working on this breast cancer, and triple negativo, what we call it, is a very, very big problem. And to see that we use some of phytotherapy like indolo 3-carbinolo, which is coming from cabbage, from brassicaceae, broccoli, and maybe to add also arnica sometime can be useful. Did you try to see arnica also work in some clinical cases or not? Not
Actually,
today.
it was the yes, sir. Actually, it was the other side. I had found this arnica working well with breast cancer. That's why I chose this medicine as well as 2 other medicine that I cannot disclose right now because of my PhD. So it's the paper is going to get published, and then I can show one paper of arnica is also accepted right now. So most probably you will be getting all the details. This is the second half of my study of EMT, that is epithelial mesenchymal transmission, and we had also worked on ROS generation, which we got very good results, and we also got different results on arnica on different like hormone dependent breast cancer, cell line, and hormone independent. Both all had different ways of cytotoxicity. So that's very interesting. That's very interesting, which is going to come up.
Okay, thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Rossi, and also Dr. Nilanjana for that wonderful presentation and sharing your thoughts on that. Well, let me quickly call upon our next speaker, Dr. Ishant Arora from India. Dr. Ishant is here with us. May we have the screen sharing,
Can I
please?
share my screen? Yeah.
Yes, please. We request, once again, we request all the speakers to be in time. Please keep a check on the timer and we shall have a wonderful presentation. Yes, Dr.
Are my
Arora,
slides visible?
it's quite visible and we can hear you as well. You may begin the
Sure.
presentation. Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay, my
Okay.
warm regards to respected chairperson, panelists, moderators, and my other co-participants. I'm Dr. Ishant Arora, working as a senior research fellow in homeopathy in Central Council of Research in Homeopathy. I'm going to present today on bridging between pharmacodynamics and homeogenomics. Now, you must be wondering that why am I trying to bridge both these fields basically. So we have reasons why both the fields are, though they are quite different from each other, they belong to different system of medicines, but then they run parallel to each other as well. So first of all, my basis is that individuals respond different to different drugs. Our response to drugs, be it any drug, be it any medicine, not just homeopathy, it could be any medicine. So all the individuals will respond differently to different drugs, right? And sometimes these effects are obviously unpredictable. Secondly, even inter-individual variation is seen in drug responses. So when, for example, if I take arnica and if my friend takes arnica, our responses might be different to arnica. Similarly, if I take paracetamol and my friend takes paracetamol, the responses also are going to be different, right? So on this basis, I'm going to explain you exactly what is the meaning of pharmacogenomics as the two words pharma and genomics, right? It's the application of genomic knowledge, the knowledge basically of the gene used to search for new drugs. And we have one other similar term called as pharmacogenetics, which is again quite interrelated to pharmacogenomics, but this basically means the study of the heredity and the response to drug. So pharmacogenomics means when you use your genomic knowledge to investigate and to formulate a new drug, and pharmacogenetics basically explains it why there is an inter-individual variation between two drugs. And as I said, both the fields basically are interrelated to each other. So why do we need pharmacogenomics? Why do we need to map the gene and genome and then DNA? Why such hard work is required, right? Because the current diagnostics obviously are the current medicine, the contemporary system of the medicine is based entirely on diagnosis and statistics. It depends on the clinical trial, preclinical trials, etc. Right? So the drugs developed are quite good, but those drugs might not be good for everyone. Those drugs might not be good for all, right? So number one, the common diseases tend to have several different causes. A single disease is not unifactorial. A single disease may be caused by a number of other factors, out of which genetic factors are also very, very important, right? Diseases like your lifestyle disorders, hypertension, cancer, diabetes, epilepsy, all these forms of diseases are also hereditary in nature. So the common diseases tend to have different several causes. Secondly, the carriers of the genetic disorders again might need different drugs. The mother might need a different drug for sickle cell anemia. The baby might need a different drug for sickle cell anemia, right? Similarly, the effects of drug in different people are rarely. You will never see two people having the same response to a particular drug. They will have some sort of difference in their response to a single common drug. So this was basically the need that why pharmacogenomics was actually developed. Now the question is, how did pharmacogenomics develop? What was the procedure? How long it took maybe the modern medicine to come to the point that yes, we need different drugs for individual. The pethy which we have been practicing, which homeopathy has been believing since 200 years, the contemporary medicine is now coming to that concept, to that philosophy. So as you can see this flow chart, you know that we had a genomic revolution when Human Genome Project was formulated in 1990, and along with that we had a therapeutic revolution. So both these revolutions helped in determining or deciding the inter-individual variation in the drug response. And then it was decided that inheritance was a very, very important factor for this variation. And hence then came Human Genome Project, and then pharmacogenetics was basically born. So genomic revolution, therapeutic revolution, along with the molecular biology, gave rise to the concept of individualized drug therapy, also called as personalized medicine, also what we call as individualized homeopathic remedy. Right? So modern medicine calls this personalized medicine, and we are calling it as an individual remedy. So this is something which we have been practicing since ages. Now, similar terms, homeogenomics. What is homeogenomics? It basically deals about the interaction between a homeopathic remedy and the genetic blueprint or the genome basically of the individual. Then similar term is homogenetics. Again, like pharmacogenetics, even homogenetics deals with the variation in the response of drugs for different people. Now the question is that how pharmacogenomics fit into homeopathy? Why, like what is the relation between pharmacogenomics and homeopathy? Or how I can fit pharmacogenomics in homeopathy? We know that there are certain diseases which are constitutional diseases like your cancer, diabetes, epilepsy, and skin disorders. These are all your constitutional type of diseases. Hence, we have a hypothesis called as gene regulatory hypothesis, and this hypothesis was formulated by Professor Khuda Baksh. According to this hypothesis, I'm just going to repeat, just going to focus on the main points. They say that homeopathic remedies carry specific signals that can be identified by specific receptors. Number one. Number two, and these receptors and these remedies can trigger to turn on or off some relevant genes that can initiate a cascade of downstream. We know that whenever we have a disease, an uncontrolled proliferation, the gene is upregulated. Homeopathic remedies, on the other hand, will downregulate the gene to alter their action and to correct gene expressions that had actually gone wrong to produce that particular disease. So, in short, homeopathic remedies have a biological and physiological influence on the gene regulatory mechanisms. Now, I have collected this is my main work. I have collected some studies from different databases like PubMed, NCBI, Google Scholar, and I have compiled those studies that what is the evidence that homeopathic medicines are basically acting on the genes. So we have a study, for example, Conturango natracis 30 was seen to have a modulatory effect of gene expression. Similarly, belladonna, rustox, and arnica. Again, this was also tested at the gene level, and all the three drugs were involved in regulation of the gene expression. Arnica 30 was seen to repair the DNA damage through the upregulation of repair genes. So the study was conducted where Arnica montana 30C was tested to reduce DNA damage in E. coli, and that E. coli was exposed to UV radiation, right? So DNA was damaged. But it was observed that in vitro, Arnica 30C could actually repair the DNA damage through upregulation of the repair genes. Similarly, Arsenicum album also could repair the DNA when Saccharomyces cerevisiae was exposed to arsenate. Arsenate is basically is poisonous, right? So arsenic album also could actually decrease the lipid peroxidation. Then we have Gelsemium also in different potencies. And again, Gelsemium also modified the gene expression profiles as well. Apis mellifica also modified the gene expression. Similarly, Arnica, Citalcor, and Peritonium. So these are the common medicines that were seen to have a gene regulatory function in vitro studies. So 10 studies were referred, as I discussed earlier, to study the concept of gene regulation. Out of those 10, the most common potencies that were used in the studies were 5C, 12C, 30C, and 200C. It was seen that all these ultra-high dilutions altered and modulated the gene expression of the targeted gene. And hence I can say that, or we can propose that the working principle of the homeopathic remedy is entirely based on the switch off or on mechanism of the gene expression, particularly by causing the epigenetic modification. So this talks about the gene regulatory hypothesis, and this is the first bridge which connects pharmacogenomics with homeopathy. Now, how can I do the exact bridging? Number one, are epigenetic modifications and chronic miasms related? We have to check it out, right? Secondly, what is the relation between constitutional remedy and pharmacogenomics? And third, can we use autosarcode of DNA as an anti-miasmatic homeopathic medicine? So let's just focus on these three concepts now in detail. The first concept was that are epigenetic modifications and chronic miasms related? Number one, you should know what is epigenetics. Now, what is epigenetics? Epigenetics is nothing. They are just a part of genetics. These are regulatory mechanisms that account for the potentially heritable and reversible patterns in the gene expression, but in the epigenetic modifications, the nucleotide is not affected. The sequencing is not affected. They are just very slight alterations basically in the genes. Also, we know that, as I said, that constitutional diseases are those diseases that are defined as the malfunctions or pathological lesions whose etiology depends to a larger extent on the genetic factors. So all your lifestyle disorders, all your cancers have a genetic background basically. And we also know that mysomes are also hereditary in nature. We have the proof in the organon and the other homeopathic literature that mysomes are the main obstacle to cure of the chronic diseases, and being SORA being the fundamental cause. So now I can relate that mysomes and epigenetics are somewhat interrelated. So, based on this framework, it can be suggested that the promoting epigenetic alterations are nothing, but these are just the biological representation of the chronic mysomes, and these mysomes are the fundamental cause of the chronic diseases. So, hence, I can say that these epigenetic modifications acquired in one generation obviously can be easily transferable to the other generation as well. As you can see, there are certain diseases, specifically with pregnancy, which can be passed on to the baby as well. Hence, epigenetic alterations and the chronic mysomes are almost interrelated. Coming on to the second thing, the second bridging, that is there any sort of relation between the constitutional remedy and the pharmacogenomics? Now, what is the constitution? Constitution, as you know, that is the individual makeup of a person. So, constitution implies the aggregate of all the factors. All the factors means the genetic factors also, the environmental factors also, and those factors can be hereditary also, they can be acquired also in interaction with the external environment. Hence, the genotype. Now we have phenotype and genotype. Genotype is what? It's the basic genomic information, and phenotype basically is the physical expression basically of the genes. So genotype is somewhat stable throughout the life, but the phenotype can change depending upon the environment, depending upon the factors. So genotype in the modern medicine concept, genotype, they target a particular gene and they intend to develop a personalized medicine. In homeopathy, genotype makes up the individual constitution of the person, and hence we go for the individualized medicine. So you can see that both pharmacogenomics and homogenomics are running parallel to each other. The third concept, homeopathic, as I've already said, that this seems to be already modern. What modern medicine now is actually thinking of. We have been practicing it since years. We just need scientific background to prove it. That's it. So homeopathic science seems to be very, very modern in this concept. The simillimum that we give is the best match between the patient phenotype, patient characteristics, and the medicine phenotype. Number one, we know that we give SORA to the mother, is an antisoric medicine, as mentioned in the organon basically of the medicine, to prevent any kind of disease basically in the newborn. Secondly, also, Dr. S.P. Day has quoted that hereditary and constitutional psychosis constitute the field of metorrhinum. Similarly, Bhide says that in the cell lies the genome, and that is the very core of the individual, of what you are. Our gene is what we are. Our gene is our constitution. Our gene basically is our constitutional makeup. Third, can I use autosarcode as anti-miasmatic homeopathic remedy? Let's see this. Now, homeogenomic and homogenetic studies confirm one point, that homeopathic remedies could deliver their benefits by interacting with the genetic material, including the epigenetic modifications like DNA methylation. As I said previously, also that homeopathic remedies have the, they basically have this tendency to regulate our gene. Hence, based on this hypothesis, the isopathic use of potentized and individualized DNA, if you take my DNA, potentize my DNA, and you give the same DNA to me. This is called as autosarcode of the DNA. This is suggested that would trigger a complex and dynamic therapeutic reaction from the epigenome. Hence, I can say that the isopathic use of autosarcode of DNA could be, we're not sure right now, we need research on this. It could be just a theory right now. It could be applied as anti-miasmatic homeopathic medicine, and that can also moderate your gene expression. So what scope do we have? We have a very big platform to connect pharmacogenomics with homeogenomics and to actually prove that homeopathy works in a very, very scientific way. The clinicians must receive further training in molecular biology. We need to have more knowledge about genes and genetics. Number one, we need fundings. The Human Genome Project obviously had such a good funding from the globally, right? So we also need good funding for large-scale pharmacogenomic studies. We can use the single nucleotide profile also. It's possible to alter the drug prescription and drug dosage as well. The concept of constitution, constitutional remedy, and myasm. Now, these three concepts must be well known by the physician so that we can apply genetics in these three aspects. The prescription of autosarcode can be tried. I put a question mark because this can be tried. The usual physician prescribing the drug should know about the patient's gene. So in short, you should have the knowledge of the genetics and the pharma, basically. Conclusion. The new concept of personalized medicines may leave behind the traditional ways of prescribing the drugs to the patients pharmacologically and diagnostically. This is for the contemporary medicine. Pharmacogenomics has the potential to translate the knowledge of human genome into better therapeutics because we are going to make the drugs as per the individual's makeup. Homeopathy focuses on individualized drug therapy, which has been practiced since its origin. So hence we are already scientific. What we're doing is already scientific. It's already proven. Furthermore, the concept of personalized medicine, as discussed, and the homeopathic principles are, as we can see, they are complementary to each other. Hence, the need of the hour is the cooperative integration of both these fields. We need to integrate with the basic sciences, the fundamental sciences, geneticists also, to produce better results on a very, very strong scientific background. So these are the references to my studies, what all the studies I've compiled. These are the references. You can have a look on the references. And here we conclude. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Ishant. Dr. Rossi, do you have any questions for Dr. Ishant?
No, I think that is very much, I think, the future of our study, and to link more than genetic, epigenetic, and the personalized medicine as homeopathy is. And this is, I think, is the field. I am not sure that the AutoSAR the DNA will be the solution, but we have to investigate, of course. Thank you.
All right. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Ishant. And
Thank you so
now for our next talk, we have yet another young scholar, Dr. Nitya T. Dr. Nitya,
Yes,
I request you to kindly share the presentation. You may begin your presentation.
Good morning, good evening to one and all. I'm Dr. Nitya, doing post-graduation at Government Homeopathic Medical College, Kozhikode, Kerala, India. And first of all, I thank LMHI Global Colloquium 2021 to give me a chance to present my study. And I am here to present my study, anti-cholesterol activity of homeopathic preparations of colchicum autumnale on cholesterol samples and in vitro evidence. First, let's move on to the introductory part. We know that hyperlipidemia means the abnormally elevated lipids in blood sample. That is its prevalence, that is hyperlipidemia, is estimated to cause 2.6 million deaths and 29.7 million disability adjusted life years, and it may be major explanation for disease burden in developed and developing world as risk factor for it, and it is a risk factor for ischemic heart condition and stroke. In case of India, India is undergoing rapid epidemiological transition and increasing population, economic prosperity, urbanization, aging, associated risk factors, and 79% of population had abnormalities in one of the lipid parameters, and it is very common in rural and urban areas. And then move on to the rationale of the study. And in conventional treatments, statins and fibrates are more common using lipid modulating agents. And these hypolipidemic drugs, that is, synthetic drugs, are associated with a variety of side effects. And these side effects includes hyperuricemia, nausea, vomiting, myositis, gastric irritation, flushing, dry skin, etc. And due to this concern, it is necessary to develop an alternative method, that is the natural therapies against this hyperlipidemia. And nowadays, several herbal drugs are advocated for this hyperlipidemic condition. And we know that these plant products are frequently considered to be less toxic and free from side effects than the synthetic one. And the homeopathic medicine, we know that it is prepared from traces of animal, plant, and other natural substances. And one of our medicine, colchicum autumnale, which is a plant remedy, belong to the family Liliaceae, and its corm, part of the plant, that is corm, is prepared for the used for the preparation of medicine. And this colchicum contain an active principle, that is colchicine, which is a bitter alkaloid, and it is used as so many medicines, and it is as an ingredient for medicine for gout and rheumatic complaints, and it also contains some bioactive substances like polyphenols, flavonoids, phenolic acids, tannins, etc. And it reveals some studies reveals that it has some significant antioxidant activity. And in homeopathic aspect, this Colchicum autumnale, which is represented in synthesis repertory, that is authored by Dr. Frederick Schroens, which is represented in hyperlipidemia rubric in generalities chapter, with the author reference Anton Andrew Julian, that is O.A. Julian, from the Mathematics of New Homeopathic Medicine, and its first proving was conducted by Anton Stock before Hahnemann. And in case of homeopathic studies about this hyperlipidemic studies, there are only few in vitro studies and clinical verifications are conducted about this hyperlipidemia. Therefore, this study is an attempt to evaluate the action of Colchicum autumnale in different potencies in hyperlipidemic sample through in vitro study. That is my main objective of this study, is to evaluate the in vitro anti-cholesterol activity of homeopathic medicine Colchicum autumnale. And let's move to the outcome measurement of this study, that is the reduce the concentration of cholesterol. Then let's move to the important part, that is the material and methods of this study. And drugs and chemicals of the study. There is a homeopathic preparation of Colchicum autumnale with different potencies. That is, I use potencies like 6C, 12C, 30C, 200C, 1M, and 10M potency, which is obtained from standard GMP certified homeopathic medicine manufacturer, and all other chemicals and reagents are used for analytical grade. And the quality control and experiments were carried out independently in laboratory under the supervision of biochemists. And for reasons of cross-contamination, we did not use more than one vial per substance. Then move on to the methods. That is, method is conducted by two methods, by using standard cholesterol solution and by using hyperlipidemic blood sample. First method, that is using standard cholesterol solution. A stock solution is prepared by this standard cholesterol and ethanol. And 2 ml of this solution was taken in 8 test tube, and 1 ml of chloroform was added to each, and 0.5 ml of different potencies of medicine were added. And from here, one is taken as negative control, that is by using ethanol, because our medicine is prepared in alcohol, and one is taken as positive control by using atorvastatin, that is widely using medicine nowadays, using common medicine. And then each test tube were added with the Lieberman-Burchard reagent, and there is a brownish discoloration in the solution and the change in intensity of color concerning with the medicinal action. The reading was taken by using ultraviolet spectrophotometry. And next method, by using hyperlipidemic blood sample. Hyperlipidemic blood sample is taken, an anticoagulant agent, that is EDTA, was added, and the blood was centrifuged using centrifuging machine 1000 RPM for 5 minutes to separate plasma and blood cell. And from this RBC, lipid extraction is conducted by using Falk method, which is a mixture of chloroform and methanol in the ratio 2:1. And from this 2 ml of solution is taken in 8 dry test tube, and 0.5 ml of 6 potencies of medicine Colchicum autumnale is added. And from here also, one is taken as negative control using ethanol, and positive control using atorvastatin. And then cholesterol estimation by Lieberman-Burchard reagent is conducted, and that is one greenish brown discoloration with change in intensity of color with respect to the medicinal action. And the reading was taken by using ultraviolet spectrophotometry with the optical density measured by setting 420 nanometer wavelength. Then move on to the result. After adding this Colchicum autumnale potencies into standard stock solution, there was significant change in cholesterol concentration. And 1 potency shows maximum result, and it removes 85.71% of cholesterol, and percentage of cholesterol removed from standard solution ranging 71.42 to 85.71%. This is the table that shows the different potencies of autumnal and the percentage of cholesterol removed. Here we can see that after atorvastatin, that is a positive control, that is that removes 92.85. After that, it 1 potency shows maximum result, that is 85.71%. Then 200 potency, that is 84.28. Then 10 potency, that is 82. After that, 30C 77.14. Then 12C 74.28. 6C 71.42%. And this is the graph that shows the different potencies of colchicum autumnal and the percentage of cholesterol removed after this atorvastatin. 1M shows maximum and 6C shows minimum result. And in case of hyperlipidemic blood sample losses, there is a change of cholesterol concentration that is ranging from 18.2% to 19.16, with the maximum reduction in 1M potency, that it removes 19.16% of the cholesterol. And this is the table that shows different potencies of colchicum and percentage of cholesterol removed from this hyperlipidemic blood sample. Here also 1M potency maximum result, that is 19.68%. Then also 200C, that is 19.42. Then 10M 19.16. Then 30C 19.02. 12C 18.4 and 6C. This is the graph that shows the different potencies of colchicum and percentage of cholesterol removed. Here also 1M potency shows maximum result. Then let's move on to the discussion part. Homeopathy, along with the lifestyle changes, can offer a comprehensive approach towards the treatment of hyperlipidemia. Hahnemann, the pioneer of homeopathy, 100 years before, foresighted the lifestyle management diseases, and it is explained in his book to Organon of Medicine. And in repertory, several medicines are represented under rubric hyperlipidemia, arteriosclerosis, etc. for this present condition. And this rubrics helps. This remedies not only help to reduce the cholesterol safely, but also maintain a healthy life. And some homeopathic literature reveals the homeopathic remedies are helpful for this treatment of this cholesterol, and it shows an excellent cure. And this is an in vitro study to confirm the hypolipidemic action of the colchicum autumnale. And this study reveals that maximum hypolipidemic action seen in 1M potency of colchicum autumnale, and other potencies can also reduce cholesterol levels significantly. And then let's move on to the conclusion. And the study strongly suggests that colchicum autumnale might be an efficient way treatment of hyperlipidemia. And further studies are needed to identify the mode of action of colchicum autumnale in hyperlipidemic samples. And further well-designed researches are warranted in this direction for revealing the action of different homeopathic medicine and different clinical situations. And one of the main limitation of my study is this is a single case study and requires well-designed studies with a replicated sample, which may be taken up for future scientific validation. And as this in vitro study was only 1 day, but duration of action of our medicine is 14 to 20 days, so we can expect more result in clinical trials. And acknowledgement. And I would like to express my special thanks of gratitude to my guide, Dr. Mansoor Ali, Professor, Government Department of Case-Taking and Repertorization, Government Homeopathic Medical College, Kozhikode, Kerala, India, for their able guidance and support in my completing my research. I would also like to express my thanks to Biochemical Laboratory, Corvallis Herbal Technologies Private Limited, Kozhikode, Kerala, India, for providing biochemist and necessary laboratory facilities. And thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Nitya. Dr. Rossi, do you have any comments?
No, well, as in other cases, it's very important from clinical application of this concept. We are waiting for a clinical trial. Statins are one of the most voice of cost expenses for public healthcare system. So to have found an alternative can be very important.
All right.
I have a question. How you calculate the quantity of cholesterol in 1 potency by UV?
Dr. Nitya?
Is it audible?
Yes. Dr. Bennett, could you please repeat your question? Dr. Bennett? I think we have lost Dr. Bennett. There is some network issue, some bandwidth issue at his end.
Please use
I will,
the chat. For
yeah,
this.
we shall inform him to kindly mention his question in the chat box. Meanwhile, let us quickly move to our next speaker. Dr. Jawahar Reddy from India is here. So Dr. Jawahar Reddy, I request you to kindly switch on your camera and unmute yourself and kindly share the presentation. Dr. Jawahar Reddy.
Okay. The warm greetings to the chair and panel and my co-presenters. My topic is an in vivo study on anti-hyperlipidemic effect of LM-cetium 30-200 CH potencies, as similar as that of Nitya, who has presented just now, but her presentation is in vitro. Mine is an in vivo study. So I did my work on white albino rats. So introduction regarding hyperlipidemia. Over last few years, chances of lifestyle, particularly westernization of diet and relatively sedentary lifestyles, have led to increased frequency of lifestyle disorders like hyperlipidemia, diabetes mellitus, and atherosclerosis. When we consider the statistics, according to WHO, 4.4 million deaths have been taken place due to hyperlipidemia leads to atherosclerosis, which is equal to 7.9% of total deaths, and also 40.4 million disability adjusted life years, mainly due to hyperlipidemia, which is equal to 2.8% of total disability adjusted life years. So according to ICMR, 72% of Indians have low levels of good cholesterol, or HDL, holds true across the country. It may be westernization of diet or due to sedentary lifestyles. This happened. Heart attack kills every fifth Indian. More than 79% of Indians have skewed lipid levels, which is increased in low density lipoproteins and decreased in HDL levels. So in my study, LM-cetium is member of Liliaceae family, exhibits various effects can be attributed to decreased risk factors for heart diseases, cancers, antioxidant activity, antimicrobial activities. My key aims and objectives are to evaluate anti-hyperlipidemic potential of homeopathic medicines, LM-cetium 30CH and 200CH potencies. I took two potencies, 30CH and 200CH potencies, against high-fat diet-induced hyperlipidemia rats. Like I took 30 samples and divided into 5 groups. 1, 2, 3, 4. One is normal, and second one is control, and third one is standard, and fourth one is 30, and fifth one is 200 CH potencies. And we have literature that LM-cetium is used in traditional medicine to treat a variety ailments of chronic dyspepsia, flatulence, colicky pain, hyperlipidemia, and skin diseases. The following main objectives of my study is to conduct literature survey for establish relevance of the study, as LM-cetium having the anti-hyperlipidemic activity. So I have to conduct a literature survey to establish relevance and to investigate biochemical estimation of various doses of LM-cetium, various parameters like weight gain by the rats which are fed with high-fat diet, and normal rats also there, and also lipid levels, lipid profile of each and every rats which are present in normal, treatment, and control and standard groups, to investigate the biochemical estimation of various antioxidants which are present in rats, because these LM setum also having the antioxidant properties. So it comes to review of literature. Hyperlipidemia is characterized by elevated serum total cholesterol, low density, very low density lipoproteins, and decreased in high density lipoprotein levels. And it is also called as hyperlipoproteinemia because lipids are associated with the proteins. So hyperlipidemia associates with lipid disorders considers causing atherosclerosis. As we all know that high risk factor for atherosclerosis is hyperlipidemia. Among the hypercholesteremia, hypertriglyceridemia are closely related to ischemic heart diseases and strokes. Lipoproteinemia classification and a brief note. Chylomicrons, it is about 5 types. Chylomicrons, very low density lipoproteins, low density lipoproteins, intermediate density lipoproteins, and high density lipoproteins. Hyperlipidemia, it is maybe familial or acquired. Signs which are not noticeable, but it can be observed during the routine examination or evaluation of atherosclerotic cardiac diseases. Causes of hyperlipidemia is mainly lifestyle habits and treatable medical condition, and also due to smoking and alcoholism, and type 2 diabetes, kidney diseases like nephrotic syndrome, and pregnancy, and hypothyroidism also one of the risk factors for hyperlipidemia. Complications of hyperlipidemia is, as we earlier discussed, that atherosclerosis is one of the main complications of hyperlipidemia, coronary artery diseases, and ischemic strokes. And regarding our LM drug, there are so many homeopathic drugs which are having hyperlipidemic effects like LM, colostrinum, beritacarb, cesium, and ficus vesicularis. As Nitya told, this colchicum autumnal is also having anti-hyperlipidemic effect. Drug profile regarding LM, it belongs to Liliaceae family, as that of colchicum autumnal also belongs to the Liliaceae family. Description regarding LM, it is esculent bulbous plant. Bulb compounds of stem grows underground, and leaves is lanceolate, which grows for 60 to 90 centimeters high. There are, in my study, material methods, chemicals or reagents obtained from the High Media, Mumbai, and study is conducted in P. Ram Reddy Memorial College, Pharmacy College. Ethical committee clearance certificate is obtained from the same college, and homeopathic remedy which are used by in our study is LM 230 potency, which are obtained from Wilmer Shabe, Delhi. Animals which are procured from PRRM college, which are about 150 to 250 grams, about 30 rats, which is divided into 5 groups. Each group contains 6 rats. Group 1 is normal, which is given normal diet. Group 2 is control, which are fed with high fat diet for 28 days. Group 3 is standard rats, which are fed with high fat diet according to a standard drug. Atorvastatin is given daily, 2 mg per kg body weight. Group 4 contains test 1 LM cetium 30 ch plus high fat diet, and group 5 test 2 group, it are also contain 6 rats, which is fed with high fat diet along with LM cetium 200 ch. Collection of blood samples. Every blood samples are withdrawn in 28 days. My study carried out 28 days, which is carried by retroorbital venous flexure rupture, which is shown in next video. So like this, we have collected the blood from rats by rupturing the retroorbital venous flexure, so that we can obtain the blood and evaluation of the lipid profile, and as well as antioxidants which are present in the blood of a Winster rat, white albino rat. So and also remaining parameters are body weight along with lipid profiles and antioxidant parameters. Lipid profile, we underwent total cholesterol, triglycerides, low density lipoproteins, high density lipoprotein, and as well as antioxidants like reduced glutathione catalase, and as well as lipid peroxidase. Statistical analysis we followed are all data was expressed as mean. Standard error means statistical significance between two groups are tested by one-way ANOVA test. followed by DUNET test. It is a program-based fitting program like GraphPad Prism, which is used for the statistical analysis. My result is during 28 days of hyperlipidemia induction treatment. Body weight of animal is monitored 14 days starting from 0 and 28 days. 0, 14 and 28 days. Normal group doesn't show any variation because it is fed with normal diet. Control group, which is fed with high fat diet without any drug. So in 0 day 213 grams, in 14th day 226 grams, and 28th day it is increased like that. So in treatment group, standard group, which is showing decreased body weight in 28th day because atorvastatin acts to decreases the lipid level, so that the weight of the body is decreased. And as well as 30 and 200 also showed a significant results, so that we can probably say that our homeopathic medicines can act well, and as well as pharmacological action now is clearly identified. 173, first it is 203, then in 20th day it is 173. It is represented in graphs like this. It is normal group, and this one is this. It is normal. It is control, and it is one is standard. This one is 30, and this one is 200 group. It is 0 day, and it is represented in graphs. Then serum and lipid levels in serum lipid levels are in normal group. It is increased serum cholesterol level. In treatment control group, it is 149, and in standard group it is 69 cholesterol levels. Then total cholesterol levels, triglycerides is according to normal, control, standard, and treatment. When it comes to HDL and triglycerides, this control group shows a significant increase in triglycerides, total cholesterol, and decrease in HDL levels. It is in standard and treatment groups, there are increase in HDL levels, but a decrease in LDL levels. So these graphs represents like that. And
Dr. Reddy, sorry to interrupt you here, but we actually are having a little paucity of time, and we have 5 more speakers. So maybe if you could just skip a few slides and move to the results and conclusion slides.
2 minutes. When it comes to antioxidant properties, all superoxidase, catalase, and reduced glutathione are increased in normal, standard, and as well as LMHI 30 and 200 potencies, but only lipid peroxidase is increased in control group. Remaining everything, superoxidase, dismutase, catalase, and reduced glutathione is decreased in remaining all groups except control group, because lipid peroxidase is the only antioxidant which rises in oxidative stress. So my discussion, when it comes to summary and conclusion, high fat diet induced hyperlipidemic rat shows significant p-value which is less than 0.001 increase in plasma concentration of total cholesterol, triglyceride, and low density lipoprotein, HDL, VLDL. So it decreases high density lipoproteins and antioxidant enzymes when compared to normal control rats. Co-administration of LMHI 30 and 200 potencies and standard group high fat diet causes significant decrease in p-value which is less than 0.001 concentration. Increase in the HDL concentration antioxidant enzymes when compared to high fat diet fed with control rats. The results suggest that lipid lowering effects of LMHI 30 and 200 potencies which serves as new potential natural product for preventing hyperlipidemia. In this conclusion, findings suggest that LMHI is a potent anti-hyperlipidemic, anti-hypertriglyceremic drug, lowering the VLDL, LDL, and increasing the HDL levels in high cholesterol diet. And the mechanism has point towards inhibiting the cholesterol and triglycerides. In hyperlipidemic rats, increasing antioxidant enzymes like superoxidase, dismutase, catalase, and reduced glutathione due to free radical mechanism, which could be reduced with the help of treatment groups like Cetium 30 and 200 when it is compared with the standard drug atorvastatin. Therefore, it is recommended for further investigation to reveal the exact mechanism of hyperlipidemic activities. So it is one starting step. There are vast, there is so much vast experiment should be carried from here. So there are, therefore it is recommended for further investigations. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Reddy.
Thank you.
Dr. Rossi, I think we will have to quickly move to the next. Next. Yeah,
yes,
and just a small change, we will have to reduce the time of the presentation. So it is a humble request to all the speakers, if you have some elaborations on the slides, quickly summarize it and move to the results at the conclusion slides. Thank you. So may I request Dr. Afia Alur from India to kindly share her presentation and get started with the presentation.
Warm good evening, one and all. Thank you for LMHI for giving this wonderful opportunity. Today, my topic is in vitro study of antibacterial activity of the homeopathic drug folliculinum on cultured Escherichia coli. Now, moving to the introduction, urinary tract infection are one of the most common microbial diseases encountered in the medical practice affecting people of our ages. Worldwide prevalence of UTI around 150 million persons per year. The emergence of resistant strains has posed a big challenge in dealing with urinary tract infection. According to National Kidney Foundation, 80 to 90% of the UTI are caused by the bacteria called Escherichia coli. It is a gram-negative, facultatively anaerobic, rod-shaped coliform bacteria. For the most part, E. coli lives harmlessly in the human gut, but it can cause problem with the urinary tract, usually from the stool that migrates into the urethra. Men are not much immune. Women are 30 times more prone due to their design of their urinary tract. Rationale of the study are in this scenario, antibiotic resistance is a growing public health problem and misuse of antibiotics is one of the most key drivers of this issue. Majority of all antibiotics prescription in outpatient care, urinary tract infection are the second most common cause of the upper respiratory tract infection. Here, I am using homeopathic medicine for the study was selected based on the complete repertoire under chapter stool culture, E. coli, folliculinum, and medicines given are folliculinum and Rovolfia. While using Rovolfia, there are some studies are undertaken. Here, the drug folliculinum is represented in Julian's Materia Medica and Synoptic Materia Medica, drug proved by Dr. Donald Forbster and clinically proved in detail by Madame de Metuse. Aim of my study is undertaken to explore the antimicrobial effect of homeopathic drug folliculinum in various potencies against Escherichia coli bacteria. Outcome measurement, primary outcome measurement done by inhibition of bacterial growth in 24 hours. Zone of inhibition can be used to measure the susceptibility of the bacteria toward this intervention. Now moving to the materials and methods of the study. Study design, in vitro study conducted with the different potencies of homeopathic medicine folliculinum. For available potencies are 12C, 30C, 200C, 1M and 10M. Study setting, study conducted at Corvallis Herbal Technology Private Limited, NABL accredited lab at Kozhikode. Sample size, 2 culture positive E. coli samples were collected from a single source at different times. Drugs and chemicals, homeopathy preparation of folliculinum in different potencies obtained from standard GMP certified homeopathic medicines manufacturer. All other reagents used were of analytical grade. Now methods, selection of bacteria. Bacteria strains that were highly sensitive to allopathic drug collected with the help of culture and sensitivity. Bacteria are identified by colony characteristics, staining and biochemical tests. Under sterile conditions, sensitivity discs were fixed on bacterial culture plate and visible zone of inhibition measured around each disc after incubation for 24 hours. Intervention, homeopathic intervention was folliculinum and control. Ethanol and distilled water kept as a vehicle control. Each disc is estimated to have 1 ml of ethanol. Gentamicin used as positive control. Sensitivity disc of 5 mm of diameter of Wartman filter paper number 41 of round shape were cut and properly sterilized. Disc impregnation with 1 ml of drug per disc. Petri dish of sterile Muller-Hinder agar MHA will be prepared with gram staining done. Incubated growth culture at 37 degrees Celsius after obtaining turbidity. Inoculation by LMHI plate is inoculated with the bacteria, kept at room temperature for 5 to 10 minutes since confluent growth is desired. Sensitivity is discovered taken with the help of a flame loops and carefully placed on surface of the medium and complete contact are made. Disc is applied with appropriate intervention measures in 1 ml per disc. Incubation, plates were incubated at 35 degrees Celsius for 24 hours. Reading of growth inhibition, measurement of the outer margin of the disc to the zone of the disc. Inhibition was done in centimeters with the help of a measuring scale. Now moving to the time killing study. The overnight culture of the bacteria was harvested by the centrifugation and suspended in sterile peptone board. Suspension was adjusted to concentration of the 1.5 to 10⁸ colony forming unit per with treated with folliculum. A tube without medicine was assigned as the control. 500 ml of the medicine and 500 ml of the broth were added and reading was taken 0, 1, 16, 24 and 48 hours. Turbidity was compared each time with control by using a turbidity meter. After 24 hours of the incubation, the colony forming units were calculated. The determination was done by 3 independent experiments. The antibacterial activity of the medicine folliculum against E. coli was evaluated by both agar diffusion and dilution assay method. It was detected that folliculum could show antibacterial activity against E. coli. However, the zone of inhibition exerted by folliculum 1 potency against E. coli was 1.2 millimeter diameter, which is the maximum in the study. Moderate inhibition zone found in potencies like 30, 200, and 20. Minimum inhibition zone is in the negative control. No zone of inhibition found in the distilled water. This image clearly shows the 1 potency showed maximum inhibition and followed by 200, then 30C and 30 and 12C. P indicating positive control, that is gentamicin, N indicating the negative control, DW is the distilled water. Here, the table shows the inhibition zone of the vein centimeter. Time to study result was represented in terms of colony forming unit of viable colonies indicated that the medicine exhibited significant bactericidal activities. After 48 hours, minimum turbidity is shown by folliculum 1 followed by folliculum 200. Here is the result of the time killing study plotted against 0 hour, 1 hour, 16 hour, 24 hour, and 48 hours. The graph itself shows the blue color indicating that is no medicine added, that is kept as a control, and no inhibition zone is formed. The orange color is indicating 1 potency that show maximum inhibition. The mean diameter of the zone of inhibition and standard deviation were calculated by using Microsoft Excel 22.
Dr. Preetam Goswami from India. Dr. Preetam, request you to kindly share the screen and you can get started with the presentation. As I said earlier, please be very specific to the points. Yes, you're audible. Please be very specific to the points and
sure.
Be brief.
It'll take just 9 minutes to finish it.
So we cannot give you 9 minutes. There will be only 7 minutes for you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. As you all can see, the topic of my study is rhododendron extracts mimicking the structure of Staphylococcus protein A. Now, if we just mark the date, exactly 76 years back, 11 December 1945, Dr. Alexander Fleming gave us the first hint about antibiotic resistance during his lecture after being awarded the Nobel Prize, where he clearly mentioned that a day will come when these microbes will be resistant towards antibiotics. And today we are in a scenario where every single day as healthcare workers, we are facing an exponential growth in mortality and morbidity regarding drug-resistant microorganisms. And that's why we thought to work on it. And the next question comes is, why Staphylococcus? Staphylococcus right now is the WHO most important pathogen, second most important pathogen list of WHO bulletin. That's why we wanted to work with it, because globally as well as in India, we are experiencing more increasing number of mortality and morbidity with the organism. Now, Staphylococcus aureus is a ubiquitous human pathogen which is commonly resides in our body, and being ecological niche for the bacteria, we commonly harbor the organism in different parts, namely posterior nares, axillary folds, groins, superficial skin surface, and so on. But
Yeah, Dr.
the
Preetham, we are not able to see your presentation. Can you please share the screen?
why we choose rasters? There are various medicines in homeopathy during proving we got dermatological symptoms, and Rastax is very well known and clinically verified medicine. Now there are two studies which has been done which justifies that why we went with Rastax. That the one with done by Brook et al, which shows the microbiology of infected poison ivy dermatitis. Now that plants of Anacardiaceae family produces a resin which is rich in urushiol, causes contact dermatitis which is when it is exposed to human skin. And Brook et al showed that there is highest rate of colonization by Staphylococcus aureus in that dermatitis. And another one study which was done by Park et al, it showed that that kind of superficial colonization by bacteria actually helps the organism to evade the human immune response, and by which the bacteria can bypass the immune system. That's why to going with the fundamentals of homeopathy, that if it has the ability to produce something by changing the dose and dilution, it must have the ability to combat it. We went with Rastax. Now coming to the experiment proper. In the first step, what we did, we bought stap latex agglutination test kit, which mainly contains human IgG coated with latex particle. We made it react with different potencies of Ras toxicodendron, as you can see, 6CH, 30CH, 200CH, and mother tincture along with a controlled alcohol. And if you just look at the reactions, Rastax 200C and Rastax mother tincture showed positive agglutination reaction. That gave us the preliminary hint that there might be some structures in Rastax extract which is mimicking the structure of staphylococcal protein A. Otherwise, it wouldn't have reacted in that manner. And in the second step, what we did, we collected blood from a voluntary donor and we took the buffy coat out and we made buffy coat suspension out of it. And another one, we collected staphylococcus from the culture, wild culture, and we used ATCC 25923 type of strain, which is internationally accepted. And later on, that bacterial suspension was made by maintaining 0.5 Macfarlane standard, and pre-made buffy coat suspension were infected by the bacterial suspension. Then we divided that infected buffy coat suspension in 5 different groups, and we added 50 microliter of control alcohol and different potencies of Rastax in it. And we kept it in incubator for 2 hours and left it undisturbed. And after 2 hours, we centrifuged it at a rate of 1200 RPM for 5 minutes. And after that, we prepared smears for that and observed under microscope. Now these are the slides of agglutination reaction. You can see the first two one, that is the one with control alcohol and Rastax 6C, no agglutination is there. In the third one with Rastax 30C, some agglutination is there but nothing significant. But with the fourth one with Rastax mother tincture, you can see under light microscope positive agglutination was noted. And the final one, the fifth one with Rastax 200C, we noticed that severe agglutination reaction took place, what we have observed earlier as well. Now coming to the same analysis, if you just look at the control alcohol, we have repeated the experiment 3 times to confirm our observation, but due to paucity of time and slides, I cannot show you everything, but just showing some of the relevant pictures. In the alcohol control group, no active leukocytes, intact leukocytes are seen. The same is with the Rastax 6C group, whereas in the Rastax 30C, some artifacts with destroyed WBC is there. And along with, and in the 200 group, you can see intact leukocytes with barely any destruction, which shows the preventive action of Rastax 200. Along with that, with the mother tincture also, we can see intact leukocytes and somewhat destruction is there, but mostly we got best results with Rastax 200 different potency, which you can clearly compare from these images. Now, as because we had limited resources, we couldn't go for sequencing and protein analysis, but we went for virtual screening and docking, that whether urushiol can block the staphylococcal protein and to prevent the intensity of infection. And we know that anything where in virtual screening where the score is less than -4, it is counted as significant. It's a stable reaction. Here the least score we have got, it was -9.6, which shows it's a pretty stable reaction, and urushiol or Rastax mother tincture can be used to combat against this condition. Now coming to the conclusion, these findings will help us to determine the different use of different potencies of Rastrax in Staphylococcus aureus infections and to maintain the cell stability, especially leukocytes and phagocytes, and it may also help to reduce the virulence of staphylococcal infection. And the finding also opens the domain of similar researches with natural compounds against different microbes. That's the team who worked together under Professor Dr. Shatadol Das and Professor Dr. Shubhamay Ghosh sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Preetham, and wonderfully completed in time, though with the paucity. So let us move to our next speaker, Dr. Parth Sanjeev Afare from India. Dr. Parth, over to you. Please share the screen. And
yeah, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah, please allow me to share the screen.
Yes, sir, you can share the screen by clicking. Yeah, it is visible. You may get started. Thank you.
Yeah, so my screen is visible, right?
Yes, it is clearly visible, and you are also audible. Yeah.
Yes, okay.
So good evening to all. Very thanks to entire LMHI team to give this opportunity to present my work at the LMHI Global Colloquium. The topic today, which I'm going to present, is Arsenicum album 30C exhibits immunomodulatory potential in stem cell model. We did it at the Regenerative Laboratory at Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth, Pune. To give a brief introduction, we all know that the past 2 years we are fighting with the pandemic of COVID-19. We all know the pathogenesis of COVID-19, how the COVID-19 virus enters the body, and there is severe cytokine storm which occurs in the body, and then it affects all the major organs because of the cytokine storm. And then major pathogenesis that occurs in the body is the pro-inflammatory markers, they go up, and the anti-inflammatory markers, that is TGF-beta and IL-10, go down. And that is the basis of all the cytokine storm and the symptoms that are presented in the COVID-19. Also, with regards to the Ayush inventory and advisory, which came on 6th of March 2020, they said that the Arsenicum album 30 can be used as prophylactic for COVID-19. Why? Because it maintains the cytokines and it maintains the balance between the pro-inflammatory cytokines as well as the anti-inflammatory cytokines. And this was the basis on which we decided to go ahead with this study. This is the Ministry of Ayush, Government of India advisory, wherein they stated Arsenicum album taken daily, empty stomach, 3 days. And they also say that it affects the macrophages. But how it exactly acts was unknown. And that is why we took this study to prove the action of Arsenicum album as prophylactic for COVID-19 using stem cell model. Aim is to study the immunomodulatory activity of homeopathic medicine Arsenicum album using stem cells. These were the basic objectives: to observe the action of Arsenicum album on cytokines, to study the cytotoxicity of Arsenicum album, and to give evidence-based science and to confirm the action as immunomodulator. So the research question: does Arsenicum album shows immunomodulatory activity as suggested by Minister of Ayush, and also can it be used as immunomodulatory activity? So this was our hypothesis. That null hypothesis was it does not show any immunomodulatory activity, and the alternative hypothesis, yes, it does show immunomodulatory activity. It was carried out at the Regenerative Medicine Laboratory at Dr. D.Y. Patil Dental College and Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth. It was a 1-year study. Methodology was stem cells, mesenchymal stem cells were taken. Arsenicum album was taken as the intervention. MTT assay was used to check the cytotoxicity of Arsenicum album on stem cells. Then the stem cells were differentiated to lymphocytes. Then we put Arsenicum album and we stimulated the lymphocytes to secrete the cytokines, and then the action of arsenic on the cytokines was studied. This shows the viability of Arsenicum album on the stem cells, because stem cells are normal human cells, so we need to check the cytotoxicity. And it shows that between the concentrations of 10 to 50% of Arsenicum album concentrations, the cells were non-toxic, and also it showed great prophylactic activity on these cells. The action on pro-inflammatory cytokines was studied. We can see over here that the CCL2 marker, the control was ethanol, and it was increased, whereas Arsenicum album and 10%, 20%, 50% showed great decrease in CCL2. It also showed great decrease in IL-17, TNF-alpha, CCLX10. So all these inflammatory markers were controlled by Arsenicum album employing stem cells, which was the major aim of this study. If we go to see the effect on anti-inflammatory markers, we see that it increases the secretion of IL-10 as well as IL-4, and it also helps maintain the concentration of TGF-beta. Interestingly, treatment with arsenicum album 30 resulted in increased levels of anti-inflammatory cytokines, IL-10 at 20% concentration. TGF-beta and IL-4 secretions were also regulated and maintained by arsenicum album 30. So coming to the conclusion, we all know what happened in the first and the second wave, the pathophysiology of the treatment behind COVID-19. That is, the virus enters the body, there is immunosignal, cytokine storms, and it leads to organ failure. And there is the imbalance between the pro-inflammatory markers as well as the anti-inflammatory markers. And when we add in vitro arsenicum album 30 to stem cells and we stimulate them to secrete the immunocytokines, we see that this imbalance which is caused in vitro can be brought to balance, and the anti-inflammatory cytokines, that is IL-10, TGF-beta, and IL-4 gets increased, whereas the pro-inflammatory cytokines decreased using arsenicum album. And this supports the advisory which was issued by Ministry of Ayush that arsenicum album can be used as a prophylactic medicine. Also, it shows that arsenicum album is non-toxic, non-cytotoxic, because stem cells are human cell lines. So it is non-cytotoxic, and further clinical trials are needed to check actually how arsenicum album can be used and its effect in COVID-19 patients. I would like to acknowledge the entire management of D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth, the research directorate, the regenerative medicine laboratory, and of course, I would like to thank the entire LMHI team to give opportunity and present the study at this esteemed conference. And I would like to thank entire panelists over here to listen to me patiently. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Path. And also big thanks for keeping in time. So we shall move to our next speaker on the theme KABP surveys and cost benefit studies. So I would like to request Professor Ashita Ravindran from India for her next presentation.
Thank you, and greetings from India to all the homeopathic fraternity gathered here. It is indeed a pleasure to be here joining hands with the lovers and believers of homeopathy who are standing for the cause of dissemination of homeopathic philosophy. I'll be presenting a different topic from all which the homeopaths have already presented, because I am not from the homeopathic fraternity, but a believer and also a follower of homeopathy, and having so much of respect for the system of medicine. I'm presenting on the topic a retrospective cost-benefit analysis of homeopathic treatment in COVID-19, this economic outcomes. This stands to be of relevance in this pandemic situation and can pave a way for the opening up of analyzing the economic viability of this medicine system. One of the points that where homeopathy has a strong hold, because it's the most economically viable system which is available today for the treatment. More the researchers are interested in this work, more will be the opportunities for the enhancement of the homeopathic system of medicine, and will also open up the more avenues for further research. So let's get started. And as the waves of the COVID-19 pandemic raged, the reports poured in regarding the economic distress that has been happening all over the world. Not only were people left out with the livelihoods due to the lockdowns, but they also had to cope with the trauma and meeting of the expenditures of this treatment who had contracted the COVID-19. Media reports indicates that the cost ran to lakhs for hospitalization, compounded by the desperate search for oxygen and black marketing of drugs. The rising costs of the health sector during the pandemic has severely impacted the household finances this year, mainly due to COVID and post-COVID treatment costs. As per the WHO report on global spending on health, weathering the storm, nearly all countries increased their health budget allocations. And the proportional increases were found greater in low and middle income countries. Budget allocations for the health response represent 8% of the pre-COVID-19 public spending, on health in case of the high income countries, while it is 13% in the middle income countries and as high as 36% in the low income countries. In the context of India, the Global Health Security Index 2019 ranks India as 57, suggesting it has lesser preparedness for the pandemic and making it more vulnerable in such occurrences. This calls for an immediate intervention by way of preventive measures as well as resorting to other treatment options. In India, the Ministry of Ayush, which comprises of Ayurveda, Unani, Siddha and Homeopathy of Government of India, has advocated for integrating the complementary and alternative interventions along with the standard care for the treatment of COVID-19 patients. We all know that for any medicine system to be acceptable, it is not only needs to be well followed, but also well researched. Authentic and scientific research helps in adding viability and possibility to the system of medicine. Historically, homeopathy as a system of medicine has proved to be useful and has claimed better results in time of epidemic outbreaks dating from 18th century. Still, when it comes to the use of homeopathic medicine as prophylaxis or for treatment of COVID-19, there were many hurdles which most of you are aware of and also had gone through. Here I would like to mention that in the wake of the pandemic in 2020, for the benefit of the homeopathic fraternity and the government, a handbook on homeopathic management of COVID-19 was prepared with the help of the doctors, homeopathic doctors like Dr. Amar Bodhi, Dr. Pramod K, Dr. Beena Bodhi, Dr. Manu Varghese, and myself also was involved as an outsider for the research protocol, which investigates the prophylactic and treatment options for the effective management of COVID-19 from a practical point of view. Foregrounding is safeness, non-evasiveness, and cost-effectiveness. The studies conducted have already identified that the homeopathic remedies are clinically useful and have shown the therapeutic effects for curing COVID-19, which is based on the symptoms presented. The increased treatment costs and the gaping hole that it brings to the government's pocket are a cause of concern and calls for ways and means to reduce the health expenditure. Keeping in mind the heavy cost of treatment and the burden it imposes on the public, it is imperative to evaluate the cost effectiveness of the treatment protocols available with respect to COVID-19. It will also be of interest from the patient's point of view, who will have an access to a safer, effective and economical health care. It is in this background the cost-benefit analysis of the effectiveness of homeopathic treatment in COVID-19 was carried out. To explore this issue, the study evaluates the cost of homeopathic treatment in comparison with the conventional allopathic treatment provided to COVID-19 patients with mild to moderate symptoms. The retrospective study conducted looks into the cost effectiveness of homeopathic treatment over the conventional treatment. The progression of the disease for both the groups receiving different treatment and the cost till the date of recovery was taken into account. For analyzing the cost effectiveness, the estimate of the incremental cost effectiveness of homeopathic therapy and the conventional allopathic treatment in COVID-19 is calculated using the formula incremental cost effectiveness of homeopathy is equal to the cost of homeopathy minus the allopathic treatment cost divided by its effectiveness of homeopathy minus the effectiveness of allopathic cost. The cost of homeopathic intervention relative to the clinical benefits of outcome measured in non-monetary values is assessed. The primary outcome for analysis is the symptom reduction and the secondary outcome is the test results becoming negative or complete relief from the symptoms is attained. Constraints exist with respect to the measuring of the benefit used as a denominator in this case because we could not have a follow-up data of the patients with respect to the conventional treatment. So only the cost of the treatment was taken into consideration. Now if we look at the study findings, we can see that how the homeopathic the cost of homeopathic treatment and as well as we have compared it with the cost of allopathic treatments.
Your time is up. Maybe we can
I'm just
conclude.
concluding. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
So from here, like we can see that in case of the medicines prescribed under the standard allopathic treatment, it was uniform prescription for all the mild cases, and so 1 week duration was there, and on an average the cost per person for the homeopathic treatment was seen to be rupees 25, while for the standard conventional treatment the cost was 1270. So this is how we have evaluated, and the conclusion we would like to state is, I'm just skipping over the limitations, and because we had the limitation of that we did not have an institutional setting, and because of that we could not have a follow-up of the conventional treatment, as well as we could not do a randomized control treatment, controlled analysis. Now, coming to the conclusion, however, even with these limitations, analysis of the available data and the observations, it is evident that the administration of homeopathic treatment in the mild and moderate case can help in reducing the cost burden and at the same time bring in positive clinical outcomes. Further, with the zero harmful toxic effects and with no secondary effects at all, the homeopathic therapy does not burden the healthcare system with additional financial burden aftermath. So the future implication is to, we need to have the health authorities can make the optimal choices, as well as we need to conduct more studies on this, randomized clinical observational studies are advocated with an institutional setting, so that we will be able to clearly measure out what is the cost effectiveness and show the authorities how far the homeopathy system will be helpful in reducing the burden of the economy. Thank you. I thank the LMHI for giving this opportunity, for joining with the homeopathic fraternity, and also presenting before the legends of in the field of homeopathy. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ashita. And now I would quickly call upon Ms. Nurul Faseha from Malaysia. And Dr. Faseha has been waiting because in Malaysia it's almost 2 a.m. right now. So I don't know, should I say good morning or good evening? Yes, Ms. Nurul, could you please share the screen? And
Yes.
we can get started with the presentation. And thank
Okay.
you for being so patient. Yes, your screen is visible. You may get started with your presentation.
Okay. Okay. So good evening to everyone in the hall. I'm Nur Faisal from Malaysia, and I'm undergraduate student. So as you can see, the title is a survey on awareness of first and second health science students of University of Cyberjaya on coronary artery disease and its complementary treatment. And I would like to inform that this work is done by me together with my other 4 friends named Aiman, Esther, Fatin, and Joyce, with the help of our lecturers. So to start with, coronary artery disease is defined as an impedance or blockage of one or more arteries that supply blood to the heart, and it is usually caused by arteriosclerosis. And why we choose this topic is because the rate of prevalence is increasing by years, and due to the reports by Malaysian Burden Disease Study, it shows that there is accounted for 98.9 deaths per 100,000 population in Malaysia in 2012, and it increasing to 34,766 total deaths in 2018 by WHO report. So for the research problem, first is the inadequate effort to oppose the causation of coronary artery disease, even with the advancement of the medicine nowadays. And there is also scarcity of research that assess the use of traditional and complementary medicine as a complementary method in treating coronary artery disease. And in Malaysia, CNCM is usually referred to as non-conventional medicine, classified into traditional Malay medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, traditional Indian medicine, Ayurveda, homeopathy, and Islamic medical practice. And the last our research problem is that the health science students' view regarding the use of the NCM in the treatment of chronic diseases, namely CAD, is still very vague. So for our research question, there is 2 research questions, which is the first and second year health science students of University of Cyberjaya aware of the cause and the prevalence of CAD in Malaysia? And the second is the first and second year health science students of University of Cyberjaya aware of the role of TNCM as the complementary treatment for CAD? So despite the fact that the leading cause of cardiovascular disease death in Malaysia is coronary artery disease, most public and especially adolescents have limited knowledge on it. Therefore, our objective is to assess the level of awareness among the first and second year health science students of University of Sriwijaya about the causes and prevalence of CED and their awareness of traditional and complementary medicine as a complementary treatment in treating chronic diseases such as CED. So as for the literature review, we had included all the published journals and articles about CED and TNCM that we found, and the general knowledge of CED assessed in this survey includes the level of awareness of risk factors, causes, its signs and symptoms, complications, management, and together with the complementary treatment, which we have included case studies of coronary artery disease using Crataegus 3X and Cactus 6C. Next, for the methodology, the study design was cross-sectional study, and here you can see the inclusion criteria for our survey is first and second health science students of University of Sriwijaya, all gender, all ethnicity, marital status, and socio-economic status. And for the exclusion criteria is third, fourth, and fifth year health science students and students of University of Sriwijaya from non-health science faculty. For the sample size, the number of respondents we targeted into the study is 200 respondents using the formula stated. And the confidence level of the study is 95% and the margin of error is 5%. Hence, the minimum sample size for the study is 132 respondents. For the data collection, so the survey form was in 3 languages, Bahasa Malaysia, English, and Mandarin. It consists total of 19 questions. And the study was done by giving online survey form through Google Form through online since we were still in the movement control order due to COVID-19. So the link will be spread through online platforms such as WhatsApp, email, and etc. So it has 3 sections, which the first section is about the preliminary data. The second section is about the general knowledge of coronary artery disease, and the third section is about their awareness, the respondents' awareness towards TNCM in managing coronary artery disease. And the expected duration for the data collection was 2 weeks, and the results of the survey was collected and analyzed into the statistical chart by using IBM SPSS statistics software. So this is the result as we were targeting first and second year students. So majority of the respondents were in the age between 19 to 23. And then you can see about the, we also collect about the gender. So we found that female is more than male. About the races, the marital status, the city of current residence, educational status, where you can see 64.4% of the respondents were from second year students. And then from country of citizenship, you can see, of course, Malaysia will have 99% of the respondents. For the second section, about the general knowledge of CED, there were a total of 6 questions that were asked to assess the respondents' awareness. So we've included the question if they have heard about coronary artery disease and what are the correct definition of it, the causes or risk factors, the symptoms, the treatments, preventions, and complications. And you can see the white margin is the one that they answer correctly. So how do we assess the level of awareness is we give specific mark for each correct answer. 1 mark was given for correct answer, whereas 0 mark was given for wrong answer and not sure answer. So then the respondents were categorized into 2 groups, which the first group was for those who scored below median, and the second group was for those who scored above median. And at 95% of confidence interval, the median for this set of statement is 3. So for the first group is for respondents who scored below 3 marks, which they were considered as not aware about coronary artery disease, while respondents who scored above 3 marks will be considered as aware. So the data result shows that majority of the respondents with 87% are aware of coronary artery disease, and we conclude that the level of awareness among the respondents was good. The third section is about the awareness towards the NCM in managing chronic disease such as coronary artery disease. So we could see that majority of the respondents aware about the availability of the traditional and complementary medicines. So we also asked about the awareness about the recognition by the Ministry of Health Malaysia, and the different modalities. As we can see, as for each the modality, acupuncture and traditional Chinese medicine, were most known by the respondents, followed by traditional Malay medicine, homeopathy, and Ayurveda, and lastly naturopathy. We also could know from which sources they get to know about traditional and complementary treatment, and if they have taken any treatment of traditional and complementary before, and shows that half of the respondents, with 65%, have taken treatment from TNCM before. So next is the p-value. So for the p-value in this study, we use 3 square tests, which we use to compare the awareness of the respondents about CAD with the age, the gender, the race, and educational status. And we found that there is no significant difference, as the p-value for all of them is more than 0.05. Next, for the conclusion, so the study managed to assess the knowledge and awareness of first and second year health science students of University of Surabaya on coronary artery disease, as I mentioned earlier. And then there is also a high percentage of the respondents that showed a positive attitude toward traditional and complementary medicine. And for impact of the study, as coronary artery disease is one of the leading causes of death in Malaysia. So it is very important for the healthcare providers and future healthcare providers to understand the basic knowledge of it and raise awareness about it to the public. So this study is expected to increase the knowledge and awareness about the disease among the respondents, and also expected to increase awareness that traditional and complementary medicine is another approach to combat illness together with conventional medicine. For recommendation for future research, this study is expected to help in generating more research papers and journals. So for future studies, it is suggested to make some improvement on the limitation of the study, and by recruiting respondents of health science students from different universities in Malaysia and from the public, and also due to the lack of journals and articles that are available in Malaysia, so studies of complementary and alternative medicine should be published more by the researchers. So that's all I need. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot.
Yes, Dr. Rossi, you may take over. Final comments.
Just a comment. Only compliments for everybody who was speaker in this session, and I am very not surprised but very touched by the young age of all the speakers. It's not like in Europe we are old and tired maybe, and the good energy is coming from India and other place, not the old Europe. Thank you very much for your initiative.
Okay, we have just one more addition to the presentation. So Dr. Dolores is here from... yes, ma'am, it is visible. It is visible. We can see the presentation. You may start the presentation.
She had a poster actually. She had a poster.
Dolores, creo que no está la traducción, creo, no sé.
No, doctor, sí, eso me disculpo, no está la traducción, porque en realidad no sabía que tenía que presentarla en inglés también, está en español.
Ajá. Pero no sé si está la traducción, puedo pedir.
Está la traducción al inglés solamente del resumen, del abstract.
Sí, lo digo porque no sé si los participantes lo pueden entender, solo esto, no sé. Sina, do you know if there is a translation? No,
I think we don't have the translation here, sir, but if you can guide us, it would be better.
I can intervene here. We have a translator in hall number 1.
Okay.
Okay.
So what we can do is, if we can talk to somebody in hall number 1, and we can arrange a translator in hall number 2, so that will be easy.
All right.
One more thing, that Jessica Gracia is asking for the access. She can translate. If we could give her access, there is another option.
AV team, we have somebody in the waiting list.
Yeah, Jessica Gracia.
So we can
send the request for Penley.
We can see Christine Lees only.
We have sent it the request for panelists.
So is Jessica here as a panelist? Is Dr. Jessica here?
She left, ma'am.
She is not here. Okay.
We don't have any more presentations happening here.
No, we had the last presentation in this hall. We just concluded.
So what we do is we just request one moderator to join hall 2. I will just send the request immediately.
Yes, if that can be done. Okay, Jessica, I think.
With my son, my son is with me.
I think Dr. Jessica is here. Can she do the translation? She has been okay.
Hi. Hello.
Hi, hello. Hi.
To translate in Spanish?
Yes, I can speak in Spanish and
Okay.
English. I don't know who.
Gracias.
Yes, so we would be needing your help, ma'am. So Dr. Dolores is here. She has shared the presentation screen. We would like her to start with the presentation, and maybe you can help us translating the presentation.
Okay.
Could you please? Yeah.
Yes. Listo,
Bueno,
doctora Dolores. Hola.
Muchas gracias. En el siglo pasado, siglo XX, la psico-inmuno-neuroendocrinología creo que nos marcó el camino. Hahnemann nos dejó un legado que es la homeopatía, y Pasquero, el gran homeópata argentino, la tarea de interpretarla a la luz del conocimiento científico de cada generación. Y eso es lo que voy a intentar hacer. ¿Vas a ir traduciendo? ¿Te doy un tiempito? ¿O sigo?
Ma'am, you are on mute. Yeah.
Sí, perdón, no sé si quieran que I don't know if you want to translate everything or she complete his presentation and after I say a very small abstract.
Maybe after her slide you can summarize and you can share. That will be better so that it can be connected.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
So, well, she started to speaking about the psychoneuroendocrinology, and she want to compare it with the philosophy of homeopathy. Yeah. Okay.
Bueno, en el siglo pasado, a través de la psiconeuroinmunoendocrinología, que era el paradigma del siglo pasado, nos han enseñado las relaciones entre el sistema neurovegetativo, los factores psicosociales, cómo nos predisponen a diferentes enfermedades, cómo el cuerpo reacciona con el sistema endocrino, con el sistema inmunológico, y todo esto a través de las emociones que son tanto desencadenantes como resultantes. El famoso George Solomon, considerado padre de la psiconeuroinmunología, es el que establece esta relación. ¿Sí? Entonces, el sistema inmunológico, el sistema endocrino y el sistema nervioso autónomo actúan en forma conjunta. Y eso ha sido, lo voy a pasar resumido por el tema del tiempo, ¿no? Esto ha sido estudiado a través de varios estudios hechos, como, por ejemplo, el sueño, cómo el ritmo circadiano modula la actividad del sistema inmunológico. Los linfocitos que actúan durante el periodo de vigilia son diferentes a los que actúan durante el periodo del sueño. Entonces, podemos decir que los ritmos circadianos modulan la actividad del sistema inmunológico. Así el sueño de mala calidad me baja las defensas, me altera mi inmunidad, la falta de sueño en el adulto mayor lo hace susceptible a infecciones. También se ha visto el valor de la meditación a reducir el nivel del cortisol para reducir los niveles de inflamación. Y hoy lo que más se habla es el tema del cerebro intestinal, la microbiota, cómo los gérmenes que tenemos en el intestino definen también el sistema inmunológico y también nuestro sistema emocional. Hasta se dice que promueve o no la formación de la neuroglía, de la formación de nuevas neuronas, y el gran uso de los probióticos para este año. Entonces, hay todo un sistema de trabajo, un grupo de estudio de trabajadores para dar el modulador inmunológico, la psicoterapia, el mediador neurológico, la dieta específica. Hay equipos de trabajo para tratar a un paciente. Y el gran desafío es encontrar con un medicamento homeopático toda esta acción. Y esa es la acción que quiero desarrollar y por qué. Voy a tener el trastorno desencadenante, el síntoma mental, el local y el general, en un solo medicamento homeopático, y la pregunta es, ¿por qué? ¿Qué es lo que puedo hacer yo para encontrar ese remedio similar de lo que tiene mi paciente? Siguiendo esa dirección de curación de arriba hacia abajo, que es la dirección del sistema neuroendocrino. Pongo la estatua del David, porque dicen que cuando le preguntan al David cómo se hace para hacer una estatua tan excelente, dice, es simple, se le saca lo que le sobra. Y yo me pregunto, a los pacientes, ¿qué les sobra? ¿Qué les saco? ¿Les saco el personaje? ¿Qué es el personaje del paciente? El raciocinio es frontal. Las emociones son del sistema límbico. Esto es lo básico del sistema nervioso. Pero hoy en día sabemos que cada síntoma homeopático tiene su ubicación específica en el sistema nervioso. Y es procesado con lo propio y con lo heredado. La clave del síntoma... Sí, dígame.
Perdón, me deja nada más avanzar porque ya hay mucha información.
Perfecto.
y no puedo. Well, she's talking about all the things that immunology system can be modulated by a dream, by some food and things like that. And she wants to know how the homeopathy remedy can interfere or can give the result for all of those symptoms. So she said that the neuropsychology and endocrine system are involved all, and how homeopathy remedies can cover or can be stimulate all those systems and can help to patient to have more healthy life. And the circadian rhythms can stimulate it almost together with homeopathy remedies. So yeah, thank you. Gracias, doctor.
Muchas gracias. La clave del síntoma homeopático es ser desproporcionado con el estímulo, una reacción desproporcionada con el estímulo, de un sector o de una emoción específica. Y hoy sabemos que, por ejemplo, el temor está ubicado en la amígdala cerebral. Cada emoción tiene su localización cerebral precisa. Entonces yo me pregunto, ¿es válido pensar que el síntoma homeopático actúa en ese sector cerebral? Si el pánico se equilibra con aconitum, con argentum nitricum, ¿es válido pensar que actúa en la amígdala cerebral, que es donde está la emoción del pánico? En el núcleo accumbens está la adicción a las comidas, al sexo, a la música. ¿Es válido pensar que el síntoma, histeria, música mejora, radica la acción en el núcleo accumbens? ¿Por qué sepia mejora bailando? ¿Por qué la música agrava en la tos en ambra? ¿Será porque toca el núcleo accumbens? Las neuronas espejo, que uno de los síntomas que tenemos es la imitación en veladona y en estramonio. Las neuronas espejo son una red neuronal que está en el sistema frontal y abarca hacia los costados. El síntoma imita de veladona y estramonium, y la deformación de la imitación, que es la envidia, que está en licopodium, en nus vomica. ¿Será que actúan en las neuronas espejo? Entonces, en la vénula, los neurocientíficos han ubicado la decepción. Ahí actúa ignatia, ahí actúa natrum muriaticum. La mentira en la corteza cingulada anterior. Los mentirosos, licopodium pulsatilla, tienen alterada la corteza cingulada anterior y este medicamento los equilibra. La música, giro temporal superior derecho. ¿Cuántos medicamentos que acabo de nombrar que tienen relación con la música? Y así vamos a ir encontrando varias ubicaciones de síntomas primarios y secundarios que están en distintas zonas cerebrales. Y no solamente eso, sino que no están aislados. hay una percepción y una interpretación a través de los pensamientos del pasado y del futuro. Y llama la atención que los neurocientíficos ven que se activan las mismas zonas. Esto explicaría el síntoma, errores, confunde pasado con presente, futuro con pasado, que tienen como anacardium, que tienen algunos medicamentos. Y más aún, el sistema reticular ascendente conecta los síntomas mentales con lo visceral y con los sentidos. Y además con el ciclo vigilia-sueño. Entonces, esto me explica síntomas como sueño, duérmese durante el calor febril, insomnio durante el calor febril, la famosa irritabilidad al despertar del licopodium, el patea durante el sueño. Tantos síntomas que tienen su localización específica y su modalidad horaria. ¿Será porque actúa en el sistema reticular ascendente la diarrea durante el sueño? Diarrea durante la mañana. Y no solamente esto, ¿por qué sueño lo que sueño? En el hipocampo se codifican los sucesos recientemente vividos y los proyectos en la corteza cerebral, que sería el sueño. El claustrum, el núcleo supramamilar, son los protagonistas del sueño, integrando la emoción y la memoria, y aparece el sueño. Sabido esto, me pregunto, ¿cómo los síntomas que yo tomo de mi paciente, en escala jerárquica, mental, general y local, se activan y desactivan en bloque? Esos medicamentos sucesivos, calcárea, licopodium, ¿qué los conecta? Hay estructuras que se repiten. ¿Por qué tantos licopodium? ¿Por qué tanto fósforo? Y me doy con la sorpresa que el National Institute of Health de Estados Unidos tiene un estudio que se llama conectoma humano. Ya está desarrollado y definido una serie de caminos que conectan estos núcleos. Núcleos que tienen sus coartadas que se llaman nodos. Y yo me pregunto, ¿puedo dibujar el conectoma de aconitum? Un trastorno a través de un susto, me pasó, aparece el lóbulo frontal, mi percepción del exterior, el lóbulo de la ínsula, la transpiración, la sed. Es más, Sebastián Seun, que es el que dirige este estudio, dice, las mentes humanas difieren unas de otras porque sus conectomas son distintos. Tienen un inicio de información genética y se rehacen a lo largo de la vida. Esta es la introducción para decir por qué pienso que el medicamento homeopático actúa sobre estos conectomas recientemente descubiertos por las neurociencias. Cada conectoma define a cada paciente, cada conectoma define a cada medicamento. Cada uno es un individuo, es un personaje, es un conectoma. Somos mucho más que el raciocinio frontal y el sistema límbico de las emociones.
Gracias, doctora. Well, she explained how some remedies can stimulate a specific places or zones in the cerebral,
in the brain.
The last last research in USA. In last research in USA, they call something about connectomas or connectomes that they say that those zones are connected between everyone and are different in all the people. So maybe that's why in some specific symptoms, in for example pulsatil or aconitum or something like that, are specific symptoms and are different from another remedies. And maybe it will be by these connectomes that are related different zones in each person, are different in each person, and she think that that's why the homeopathy can be explained by this research, and why are those symptoms are very strange, but are together show the general symptoms. So I think that it's the very
Exactly.
this research. Yes.
Puedo seguir, si es que me da el tiempo, ¿no? También, en la enfermedad aguda pasa también algo parecido. La enfermedad aguda, inhibida, es el origen de la enfermedad crónica. Y nosotros tenemos ese punto de ajuste hipotalámico, que cada medicamento tiene su forma de presentación de la fiebre, de la transpiración, de la sed, del apetito, de la emoción que lo acompaña, y elegimos acónitum, gelsemium, veladona, los medicamentos diferentes para la fiebre, según todo este conectoma agudo quizá, que actúa en bloque peculiar. Y también me planteo, si ese ajuste hipotalámico agudo, que inhibido es el inicio de una enfermedad crónica, sería la formación también específica para cada miasma. Entonces, en cada enfermedad aguda y crónica tendríamos una exaltación de miasmas, síntomas homeopáticos para investigar. Voy a dejar pasar lo de la vacuna porque ya va a ser mucho. Y también una trayectoria de evolución, porque todos sabemos que en el buen tratamiento reaparecen síntomas antiguos. Y yo me pregunto, ¿dónde estaban anotados? ¿Dónde estaban, en qué memoria cerebral los tengo?
Dear doctor, yes, I will. I'll have to ask you to stop here. How to say that, por favor? So, muchas gracias, Dr. Jessica, Dr. Dolores, and thank you once again for being here. And a huge, I would like to extend a big gratitude to Dr. Rossi here for being with us and for chairing this session. Thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you to you.
Thank you all the speakers for being here. And thank you, Dr. Renu, Dr. Binit Dwivedi for moderating. And also Dr. Harshita and Vismaya for coordinating this session. Wonderful. Thank you once again.
We will have a group
photograph. Yes, I was about to say that. I was waiting for Dr. Renu. Yes, indeed, we would like to have a photograph. Hansraj from our team will tell us when to take. He's going to click beautiful capture here.
Dr. Dolores, if you can stop sharing the
Doctora
screen.
Dolores, que si puede dejar de compartir, que muchas gracias. Y vamos a tomar una foto todos.
Can we please stop the screen sharing from Dr. Dolores?
Sí, disculpen. Ahora sí.
Gracias.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias, realmente muy agradecida.
Muchas gracias.
Qué lástima.
Espero que haya quedado la idea. Está en el Prezi. Si buscan Prezi Dolores Astigueta, está en internet, está subido.
Hansraj,
you can do
okay,
it.
everybody, ready? Smile.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, once again. This is your host, Neha. So we shall be logging in here in Hall 2 at 2 a.m. as per the IST and 22 hours as per CET. So see you all.
Thanks.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Chao.
Muchas gracias por el tiempo, por la traducción. Espero que la idea les guste, que sea útil.